Hey, what's up everybody? It's Matt from RAR TCG. I'm really excited about today's video. I'm super passionate about it actually. We're gonna be talking about how to maintain 100% feedback rating on TCGPlayer. This is so important. There's certain aspects, there's certain metrics on TCGPlayer that will help set apart your store. I was gonna say separate. It helps set you apart from other sellers on the platform. It makes it more likely that a buyer is going to engage with your cards and your listings. These factors, right now, this video, we're gonna talk about the feedback rating primarily, but there's other factors to consider. So this is your feedback. This is the amount of sales that you have, and then whether or not you're a gold star seller. All of these things kind of feed into each other. You can't talk about one without talking about the other. Now, I may do a more encompassing video in the future because I really think that the feedback aspect is so important. And if you are taking these steps, if you're putting these tips into practice that we're going to talk about, you're going to achieve 100% feedback. And then guess what that's going to do? That's going to increase your sales. It's going to make it more likely that you're a gold star seller. And then all of those things are going to work together to help increase your sell-through rates and help you grow your business. That's what it's all about, y'all. Now, before we dive in, I totally forgot to ask, would you mind hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel? I have been blown away by the support lately. I really appreciate all of you guys. And do not hesitate to jump down in the comments. Let us know about your experiences on TCGPlayer or any other platform that you sell on. I love to learn from you just as much as I like to share my experience and hope that people learn from me. So I appreciate you guys. Our goal is 1,000 subs. Don't hesitate to hit that like button. If you're feeling really ambitious about supporting the channel and the community, hit that share button. Share it with some friends that are also looking at selling or interested in it. Because the other side of this conversation is that these principles will help someone go from a level 1 seller to level 4 seller extremely fast. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're not gonna, add any fluff here. We're gonna dive right in to the meat and potatoes and the value of this video. So I've got 3 tips and a bonus tip we're going to talk about in this video. So the first tip is going to be all about feedback, like I said, but the first tip is all about shipping. Now, you may be asking, how does shipping relate to feedback? Well, it's super important. Okay, there is one thing that 100% will get you better feedback, and that's getting orders shipped out faster. Now, I'm not saying that you should get things shipped in the same business day, but you should aim to always have things in the mail within 1 business day after they were ordered. I think that's the gold standard. And in fact, if you get things shipped out on time or early, that can earn you that gold star seller rating as well, which is a little badge that shows up on your listings and just helps set you apart, like I said. Now, the 1 business day turnaround, that's what I try to stick to as a rule. Of course, there's going to be situations where you can't stick to 1 business day. For example, the postal office, the postal service is closed on Sundays. So any orders that are ordered on Saturday have to be shipped on Monday by the earliest, right? And when I say business day, that's what I mean. We don't count Sunday as a business day because the business is closed. So the closest business day to Saturday is Monday. That would be within your 1 business day turnaround window. However, there's other items and situations that impact that as well. Number 1 is holidays. So we just had July 4th, and I had some orders that needed to go out. It was Wednesday night, I was packing orders, and I wasn't able to get them out on Thursday, which would be my 1 turnaround time. And then the 4th was on Friday. And I just realized I felt so defeated. I had 15, 20 orders that needed to go out, and I just couldn't do it because work was busy and I was just really swamped at the time. But I just I talked to my wife. I was really frustrated because I really wanted to get those orders out. And she just reminded me that it's totally okay and understandable to have that 2 business day turnaround. In fact, that's probably what a lot of people do anyways. But if you can try to achieve the 1 business day turnaround, that's great. Quick note on the 2 business days, TCGPlayer, their guidelines and rules actually say that you have up to 48 hours to get items shipped. So within their terms of service, they do recommend shipping within 2 business days. The 1 business day is just going the extra mile, really shooting for the stars. Gold star, in fact. See what I did there? Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is to reply to messages regularly and quickly, okay? I always have a rule of thumb. If a message comes in a standard business day, so if I get a message anywhere between like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., I'm Central Time, but your time, between 8 and 5, I'm going to respond to that the same day. Now, if something comes in that's like 10 p.m., 2 a.m., I'm going to wait till the next business day to address that. But I really do think that sellers appreciate that quicker turnaround, that quick touch point. Because listen, if a buyer, buyer is what I'm talking about. If a buyer is reaching out to you, they have had to log into TCGPlayer. They've had to write something to you. So what does that mean? Like, put yourself in the buyer's shoe. Not just one shoe, both shoes, okay? Put yourself in their shoes. They're likely reaching out because they're concerned, or they have some really they probably have some concerns and some questions about their order. Now, what happens whenever you're concerned? Like, think about it in life. Like, you really needed to know something from your significant other or from a family member. You reach out to them and it's super pressing. Like, think about like, I don't know, like tax return time. You're worried about whether or not someone's sick. You're hoping that someone's safe. You reach out to them and then you don't hear back from them for a day or 2 days. Think about how stressful that is on everyone involved. Like, that's just a regular human reaction. If you don't get a reasonable response in a reasonable time frame, you start to get worried, okay? And the same thing happens for buyers, okay? They purchased from your shop. They trusted that you as the business would get their order shipped quickly. They trusted that order I can't say. They trusted that you'll ship the order in time. I gotta go all the way back. Ship the order in time and that it will be delivered as anticipated. Now, of course, sellers don't have full control over all that process. Like, we're not the ones out there driving the envelopes or bubble mailers to the houses, thankfully, right? Shout out the United States Postal Service, UPS, all those guys. You guys are awesome. Anybody watching this that works in like delivery, especially the Postal Service, all that kind of stuff, you guys are the like MVP heroes. I really appreciate y'all so much. And I understand that things get lost in transit sometimes, and that's part of life. Like, if you're gonna run a business and you're scared of that, I hate to say it, but it's gonna happen. So that quick touch point, circling back to the tip that is respond to your messages quickly, that's gonna give them some assurance. Even if you don't have all the answers to their concerns and questions, you jumping in and saying, hey, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience here. I'm making this a priority and I'm looking into it, and I'm going to follow up with you within a day or two after I'm able to look into this. That helps them know that it's on your mind and that you really value their purchase and their order. You really value the fact that they took the time to reach out to you. Do not sleep on that. I've actually had a negative feedback review, one of my only ones ever. I didn't talk about this. I'll do this in a second. I had one of my only negative feedback reviews come in. I reached out to the buyer. We had a conversation. It was really, really great. I got to address some of their concerns about what was happening with their order, and they turned that totally upside down. They gave me a 5-star rating, maintained my 100% rating. I am gonna pause here 8 minutes in and just let you know that I do actually have credibility to talk about this. I should have added this earlier, but just a quick touch point because I think this is important to throw in here. I'm Matt from RAR TCG. I said that earlier, but my shop name on TCGPlayer is RAR Card Shop. You can check out a link to my shop over at rartcg.com. It's the complete your master set button. You just click that, it'll take you to TCGPlayer so you can see all the listings that I have available. I have about 1,400 sales, 100% feedback rating, and I'm a gold star seller there. So just a little credibility check. 3/4 of the way through the video. Let's go. Okay, now tip number 3, we're gonna start wrapping up here pretty soon. Tip number 3 is actually like super important. It's all about your mindset. Now, the first 2 tips, obviously, were super practical, hands-on. Tip number 3, however, is gonna be more about your mindset and outlook on your life and your business. I really recommend that you work on having a more positive and optimistic outlook when it comes to your business. I understand that some people's predisposition on life is more cynical, maybe a little bit more negative. And it's not that you're a negative person, it's that you're a pragmatic person. It's that you're really practical. You see things for what they are. However, I will say in business, it can really benefit you to believe the best about the people buying from you. Now, when that buyer reaches out to you and you see that you got a message on TCGPlayer and the subject is, "Where is my order?" What's your initial thought? Is your initial thought, "Oh, I bet this guy's trying to steal from me. I bet they're going to claim that the order never arrived. Oh, I bet this person is just frustrated for no reason. The order was shipped in time." You see how these kind of thoughts and processes that you work through, if they're negative, it can lead you to have a more negative and cold response to the buyer. And if a buyer feels like that a seller is cold or negative or pessimistic, cynical, that can totally ruin any hope for a positive feedback rating. So I really recommend that you have a positive outlook. Now, I really want to talk about just this little leadership lesson that I learned. It's a kind of a leadership kind of perspective that you can have on life. And it basically has to do with thermostats and thermometers, okay? This was so revolutionary for me when I was early on. I was a teenager, but I think I was right out of high school, 17, 18, 19 years old. The first time I ever heard about this, but it wrecked me, man. It was so pivotal for my life. So the idea is that you can either be a thermometer or you can be a thermostat. Think about what those two things do, because they both deal with temperature, which seems like it would be very similar, but the application here is crazy. So a thermometer is, you use a thermometer to measure the temperature that's currently happening, right? A thermometer can only measure and reflect the current temperature around it. You use a thermometer whenever you think you're sick to see if you have a fever. On the flip side, a thermostat sets the temperature in the room, right? It doesn't just reflect the temperature, it sets it. So it makes it cooler, it makes it warmer. That is what we're going to talk about just for a couple seconds here. But I bet some of you are already connecting all the dots. Maybe you've even heard that before. I didn't come up with it. So what I recommend you do as a business owner, as a leader, even if you're not going to sell Pokemon cards and you have an amazing job that you love and you just happen to watch this video and you're just interested in this kind of communication and all this stuff we're talking about in business, you can apply this to anything, any stage of life that you're in. I really recommend that you are a thermostat and not a thermometer, okay? It is more difficult to be a thermostat. It's basically what I mean by that is I want you to think of your business, of your leadership, of your workplace, of your family life, about your life in general. Think about the opportunity you have to set the atmosphere, set the temperature in the room. Whenever you are having a bad day, you can, especially if you're a leader or a manager, if you step into a room and you're having a bad day, you're negative, you're upset, you're mad, man, people can feel that. They feed off of that energy and it makes people nervous. It makes them concerned. It may make them, have confrontation, respond rudely or meanly, all because they're feeding off the negative vibes from the leader or manager in the room. However, the opposite is also true. If you can check yourself and really realize the opportunity that you have when you step into a room, or whenever you go to respond to a buyer on TCGPlayer, or whenever you're looking to buy a collection on Facebook Marketplace and you get to reply to them and meet them in person. All of these touch points with people, every touch point with a person, every opportunity for communication is an opportunity for you to set the atmosphere, set the temperature. And if you have a more positive outlook, you can make, it's just crazy, okay? You could literally make someone's day just by a kind word, a smile, just a thoughtful response or question for them to really get them to open up and share about what's going on in their life. It's just crazy, y'all. It really does matter. On the flip side of that, you could just settle and choose to kind of not take the harder route and just be a thermometer and just respond to the vibes. Now, this is dangerous as a business owner because, like I said, when you get those emails, when you get those calls, when you talk to people and try to negotiate with them, people may not be happy with your counter offer on Facebook Marketplace. They may respond very angrily. They may be very upset. Or on TCGPlayer, somebody may be very, very upset that their order's not there, even though it's on its way, right? So you could respond to that like a thermometer and just match their energy. I don't recommend that. You do not want to match someone's energy when they're in that negative, concerned, or high emotional stage, okay? That's not going to be great for you or your business. So be a thermostat. That's my biggest kind of bonus tip here. Is about the mindset and everything. That's not actually the thermostat thermometer. We'll count that as a bonus tip. I actually got a second bonus tip, and we're going to end this video. The second bonus tip is to utilize the tools that TCGPlayer makes available. And then there's one tool in specific that I really want to talk about. That's the block buyer button. This thing is a lifesaver. If you are selling on TCGPlayer and you have an odd interaction with the buyer, they messaged you, you had to issue a refund. Issuing refunds is not a problem. Sometimes legitimately orders get lost. Sometimes legitimately you forget a card in the order. X, Y, and Z. There's 100 different reasons that a refund is absolutely 100% needed and required, and probably an issue that you and me as the seller may have had, like missing a card or X, Y, and Z. However, there may be times that you just feel off about a conversation. And in those situations where you have to issue a refund, or even if you don't have to issue a refund, but you just feel off about it, I would really ask you to really think about it. Maybe sleep on it for a day. Maybe just really think about it. If it takes you an extra day because you want to sleep on it to decide, that's totally fine. But you can block any buyer. And so where that person, I think they can still technically see your listings, but they just can't interact with your listings. You can do that. There's no issues with that at all. Don't feel like that's like a bad or a taboo thing to do. Block people. It's okay. Do it on social media. If someone comes attacking you, block them, like it's okay. Like those are your spaces. It's your business. And if you feel off about a transaction or a seller, it's okay to use it. For me personally, I think I've only had to use it. I've used it less than 5 times, 100%, probably less than 3 times. And it's really these one-off situations. I've refunded probably 10 orders, like fully, for legitimate reasons. As I said, I have like close to 1,500 sales now. Like 10 sales, 5 to 10 sales out of that to be refunded is not crazy. Some of them were partial refunds, some of them were full refunds. It all totally makes sense to me. However, like 2 to 3 times, I have had a little bit of a weird feeling. I felt off about a certain interaction or communication, so I blocked them. I'm not going to share specifics or names or anything like that because I don't think that that's helpful. But anyways, use the tools that are available to you. Thank you again so much for watching this video. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing to help me reach my goal. And I'll see you for the next video, y'all. Peace.